Hello everyone. Starting possibly a little bit early, but good to hopefully see you all. We have a slightly amended desktop while we're doing this slight introduction. Usual music as always. Hopefully the audio is okay and you can hear me. I'm just waiting to confirm myself. Yep, that is me. I can hear myself. Brilliant. Okie dokie. Well, it's going to be the usual patch note stream. So what we'll be doing is we'll be taking a look through the patch notes for the November campaign. Well, I guess campaign and patches and things like that. If you have any questions or any points of discussion along the way, feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll see what we can do as we go along. So, let's see what we can do with the very start of it all. And we'll also tone down the Colonel Bogey's March. So, actually, one thing I should pre-warn everyone about is it is bonfire evening in the United Kingdom. That's basically when people like to set off fireworks. So, if you hear bangs, whizzes, other things like that in the background, then it's bonfire night and I can't do anything about it, unfortunately. But hopefully you can bear with, and there shouldn't be too many fireworks going off over here. Good day to a name that was. Good to see you. Also seeing Brandon and Zinedine, who were in earlier during it. And there was. So far, I'm happy. Nothing is mentioned about the Cleveland from what I saw. Yeah, no, I agree. Nothing mentioned in that. So whether changes to the Cleveland are expected in late December, we'll have to wait and see. The Banana Gamer. Hello. Slightly too many A's, but hello. So, let's see how this goes. Hopefully you are hearing me. And so, November patch, obviously the big thing that they're going on about is the IJN Destroyers coming to the game. I guess that's going to be the main thing. So squared. So what happened when we already have Tanaka Commander for the mini campaign? You will be rewarded a personal commendation for Tanaka should you already have him, and if you have Tanaka already fully ranked up, then you will receive a universal commendation, which you'll then be able to spend on any commander. So even if you already have Tanaka, you're going to be still getting something useful. Misc Changes, good evening, good to see you. So, starting to scroll down, obviously the maintenance is going to be happening on Monday the 9th of November, and it's going to be 10 AM UTC, basically 10 AM GMT. I'll allow you guys to amend those times to your time zones. Besides, the patch is 2,500 megabytes or 2.5 gigs, so again, a very greedy game as it continues to gobble up available space on your console. But again, I'm a visitor from Spartan's channel. Well, thank you. Oh, it's good to see you. Let's see. So, I guess there's a quick summary here. So, wow, you can either read it yourself, or I might just pull a couple of things out. So, first of all, 2 new campaigns, an alternative branch of Japanese destroyers, another season of ranked battles, new Black Friday content, improvements to secondary armament, 2 new bureau ships. And that's basically everything. Now, one of the key things to note is that this patch, or I guess season, or whatever we want to call it, is going to be going for 6 weeks than the usual 5. Therefore, it's ending on December the 21st. So we are going right up to just before Christmas. So, I'm surprised they're pushing it that far. I would have expected them to maybe have actually stuck to the 5 weeks, because then that would give them a bit of breathing space development-wise for the Christmas holidays. However, pushing it that close, fair enough. Maybe it gives them more time actually to actually get the development done for the December patch. Maybe that's what they're planning. Anyway, so going on to the campaign. So yes, we have 2 campaigns. One's a 4-week campaign and one's a 2-week campaign. We have, now you're going to have to bear with me because Japanese is not a, I was going to say it's not my main language, but let's be honest, it's not any of my languages. Let's be completely honest there. So we have Yasen Butai Leader and Tokyo Express. Well, that's a nice, easy one to pronounce. Yeah, 2 campaigns. First one's 4 weeks. That's dedicated to the Tier 7 Japanese cruiser, the Azuma. And then we have a 2-week campaign, which is dedicated to just a Japanese destroyer commander, in all honesty. Now, the Azuma does look quite interesting. She has 3 triple turrets of about 12-inch guns. I always refer to gun calibers in inches. It's just because that's the caliber sizes that they would have used at the time, and when I read historical articles and things like that, I always end up working off of inches. Spider Square, new to the game. Keep hearing about Black Friday ships. What are they exactly? They are premium ships, which are exactly the same as their fellow premium ships, but they're just black. That's it. But the nice one is they will be on sale at a discounted price, so that could tickle some people's fancies. One thing to note about the Azuma is that she has only 27mm thick armor. And that's well on her extremities, so that would be her bow and her stern. So that's something to be possibly concerned about. She's not going to be a bow tanking ship. She's going to be very much about angling, trying to bounce it off her main armored bout. Really, another interesting one is that she has repair parties relatively short cooldowns, so that means that she's obviously going to be able to get a lot more HP back. Now, I'm going to just bring this image up as well, or maybe not. Okay, alright. Bear with while we suffer the usual technical difficulties. Right, we'll open it in a new tab. So this is, in the background, we have the Nagasaki Harbour, which is coming this patch as well, to mention. Basically you got all the Sakura Blossom or the Cherry Blossom. So this is obviously before the Americans dropped an atomic bomb on it. So yeah, okay, it's quite pretty. I do look forward to actually having a look around it. You've got like the classical bridges and things like that. So that's quite pretty, actually, I have to confess. Where? See, Simpus. Oh, good to see you. Hello. Exactly what they are. Ships in Black Hammer. Clint, hello, Clint. Good to see you as well. So that's the Azuma. Hopefully we're not going to get any more technical issues with actually interacting with this page. I've had some during my trial runs when I've been reading through it. So the campaign for the Azuma is scheduled to run 4 weeks. So that's from the 9th until the 6th, with obviously the next one starting on the 7th. So entry is 2,500 doubloons. Now I have done some mathematics behind the scenes, and I'll do that once I've got to the end of this, or end of the talk about the campaign. Obviously it's a 100-step or 100 milestone campaign, and you're looking at slightly more challenging than usual. So this is, well, apparently this campaign will be slightly more difficult than the previous campaigns. And also you've got a shorter amount of time to do it in, so there's going to be a lot to do per week. But like they say, each one is going to stay open until the next campaign starts. So that means if you want, you can probably grind out all 4 weeks in the last day of the update, or the last day of that part of the campaign, I should say. Oh, okay, just show the image from last week. Okay, now fair enough. But yeah, so I'd like to see a breakdown of the campaign, and that'll probably come out early next week as to what we're going to be expecting. Now, here's an interesting one where it does a breakdown of the oh, good lord, why is nothing working off this page? No, don't know why. It seems very dodgy, this page, at times. Anyway, so basically this is comparing the differences of what you would get with Amity backing and what you would get without Amity backing. So, and then this breaks down what you'd get with Amity backing, and this is the additional stuff that you get without Amity backing. So some of the things that people always look out for is probably doubloons. So you're getting 1,075 doubloons in the first one. Should be converted. Oh, 1,125. Okay, pardon me. Oh yeah, no, that makes more sense actually. Mathematics is a bit off there. You get 1 accommodation, but then you can get. Actually, it's easy for me to do it from here actually. You get an additional 2 accommodations if you have Amity backing. You're only going to get Black Friday crates and the cruiser if you have Amity backing. That's one thing to mention. Anything else that's special? You get an additional 25 promotion orders, an additional 3 number insignias, I should say. So, okay, fair enough. There's some stuff there to actually justify grinding out some of your commanders. And the Azuma does look interesting. Now, the difference between with and without, without you're looking at 14,000 doubloons rewards, and with it you're looking at 64,800 doubloons. Now, regarding the mathematics side of it, I've done it for the adding the two campaigns together. So squared, Japanese campaign ends on the 7th. Well, the campaign for the Azuma ends on the 7th, and then there's the second campaign, which then does the following 2 weeks until the 21st of December, or just before. And that one's focused on Tanaka as the end reward. So maybe they're looking at like the first 4-week campaign for the Azuma is like the main campaign, and then there's like a little, like a maybe a less intensive campaign. It's got less steps, so maybe the idea, oh, it's got 40 steps. So maybe more of the idea that second campaign is maybe just to start winding things down as we approach Christmas, I guess. Maybe, God knows. But as that's running from, it says on December the 6th, but I think it's December the 7th, really. Or it depends on your dateline, I guess. Switching focus to the Japanese destroyers. Now, the amusing one is they're saying the main reward is Tanaka, while Kruta gives more artillery options. Many newer players haven't played Japanese destroyers at all. I highly doubt that, because whenever I meet or talk to people who are new to the game, usually Japanese destroyers are one of the main ones they go for. So they say that Tanaka is more universal commander, which I found quite amusing when I looked through his traits, I guess you could say. He's very torpedo orientated, whereas at least Kruti, oh God, I do apologise, has slightly more universal skills. So I think that just seems a bit odd to me, in all honesty, unless you're talking about only torpedoes, really. The average backing for the 40 step milestone is 2,500 as well, so they charge you the same for both campaigns. However, you do get a cashback of 1,250. And there's a nice little wrap up there, but this is where I want to go into the mathematics that I've done behind the scenes. Now, what I've got is I have a spreadsheet which has the value of every single campaign since October 2019, and in that I record the value of the balloons for the rewards without amity backing, with amity backing, what the difference is, and then what's the percentage difference between with and without. And so first of all, one thing I want to mention is if you include all the doubloon refunds for the two campaigns, so the first one's going to cost you 2,500. You're then going to get 1,125 back. The second one's going to cost you 2,500. You're then going to get 1,250 back. So therefore, from the two campaigns, all in, it's going to cost you 2,655 doubloons if you get amity backing for both campaigns. For the two campaigns together, if you do not get amity backing, the total sum of the rewards is 21,915 doubloons. This is the second highest since records began, I guess you could say. Now, the value of the campaign with amity backing is 91,890 doubloons. This is the highest ever. Now, the difference between with and without is 69,975 doubloons, and the percentage of the total doubloon value that you're going to get without amity backing is only equivalent to 23.85% of the amount with amity backing. Now, that's quite low. However, that's probably due to the very high amount with amity backing. So you're getting a lot for your investment out of this one. I think they kind of have to justify it because obviously they are charging us an additional doubloonage, I guess you could say, in comparison to without it. Where am I? Japanese campaign ends on December the 7th. Oh. Wow. I think I did, yeah. I think I now know what message you redacted, but okay, yeah, no, that's quite interesting. Seamless, this will be great. I have the attack going from Azure Lane at rank 12, so it'd be nice if I managed to get this cruiser, fair enough. And then what? Well, the way I pronounce Akatsuki has been reinforced. Simpus, I'm glad that I have Tanaka at rank 10. Fair enough. Las Vegas, good day all. Was in an intense Ognevi game, so missed the beginning. Looks like an exciting update. It does, looks very interesting. Simpus, I can't play DDs at all, I suck, but the Ognevi is nice. Fair enough, fair enough. Is it December the 7th? I think you're right. That's an amusing fact. So that's hopefully that sums up the campaigns. So I guess the first one's more like the first one for the tier 7 cruisers, a more intense campaign with more rewards really, and then the second campaign is just more of a I'd take it or leave it depending whether you're interested. Spartacus, I got the Bureau intro project and anniversary finished, and now they add 2 more, and I'll never get a legendary. You will in time. You will in time. The trick is to obviously focus on 2 when you're not playing, and then when you're playing, probably try and grind out as many of them as possible. Like do the individual missions regarding the ships, and you'll be able to move along the other ones in the background as you're playing. Going on to the Japanese destroyers. Now, note they call them alternative rather than gunboat. And I kind of agree. So they're basically introducing the second alternative branch, which is the Japanese, what we call gunboat destroyers, but not quite. Now you're going to have to bear with me when it comes to these names. I have tried. So we've got Minakaze, I can pronounce that one. We have Akazuki, Hatsuranu, Siratsu, is my best bet. That's as close, as good as it's going to get. Basically from tier 4 to tier 7, now that's quite interesting. So they joined the fleet. Splits of tier 4s. Basically, you got to kind of imagine the Masuki, Fubuki, Atasuki, and Kagero. They're probably pronounced it terribly wrong. Akazuki is worth the ground, I've heard. Yes. I will briefly go over the pros and cons from the PC version of the game, and hopefully that might free up a bit of capacity on the laptop. Now, there's an amusing one. So these ships are a bit less focused on torpedoes simply because of the lower torpedo count, but the torpedoes are definitely still the main armament. So although we call them gunboat, they're not exactly full-on gunboat, I guess you could say. However, the higher you move up, the more gunboat they get, hence the Akazuki being more worthwhile. There's also this passing comment regarding they also have better anti-aircraft weaponry. I would probably say yes, they do have better anti-aircraft weaponry in comparison to the other Japanese destroyers. I would, if you want to be looking at anti-aircraft destroyers, you want to be looking at the American tech tree, not the Japanese tech tree. Which might be useful in the upcoming months. So obviously here they're still hinting towards the Yamato style event for the carriers. So on this one, this is quite amusing. There's no early access on these. They're literally just chucking them at us. So expect a slight bump in the destroyer population at the time. So for people with radar cruisers like the Bedoini, the Shores, the Chapayev, the Belfast, the Atlanta, the Indianapolis, the Boise, the Cleveland, the Baltimore. I probably missed off a few, but yeah, you might want to revisit some of your radar cruisers and catch out some of these destroyers as people are getting used to them. That might be like shooting fish in a barrel. And they're basically saying everyone give them a go. Now what I want to do is just quickly fingers crossed, will this work? Yes. Okay, great. That's actually worked. Let's have a look. Misc Changes, new destroyers. Oh no, aircraft carriers. Please no. The thing is, there's a vocal part of the community that wants aircraft carriers. Simpus. Okay, we'll give it a try. What? Spartacus words. The mention of AA was an intended drop for the upcoming carriers. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a comment in passing. I wouldn't really say I wouldn't really say go for these destroyers if you want an anti-aircraft destroyer, I should say. I was saying, what website is this? I can't find it. It is the patch notes. The link is in the description. But what I'll do, I'll copy that and I'll put it in the chat. There you go, chaps. So if you want to read along as we go along, then that's perfectly fine by me. Let's go back. The destroyers you just mentioned, Akatsuki, yes. Okay, rightio. I'm just going to quickly go through their stats on the PC. So we'll start off with the Shimakaze. Well, I'm not really going to go through the stats, but I'm just going to go through the pros and cons. So you have to bear with me because I can't see the chat right now. So for the Shimakaze pros, you've got workable torpedoes with considerable damage. You have approximately a 1 kilometer window of stealth torpedo range almost. Your rudder shift is pretty good, really. Excellent torpedo reload time as well. You've got a nice spread of torpedoes, being that you come with 3 twin tube launchers, and you actually have, well, you look like you're quite fast as well, potentially having a base speed of 39 knots, being able to reach probably 42 knots plus depending on your command build and engine boost almost. The downsides of the Shimakaze is obviously she is fragile like most destroyers. Her engine and rudder can be easily knocked out. Her modules, like her torpedo modules and her main gun modules, are quite easily knocked out as well. The guns have a slow rotation speed, reload, and have a worse fire chance. They do mediocre damage. Your torpedoes are actually quite slow, making hitting at range a bit difficult. And you have a weak anti-aircraft suite, so you're not really going to be stopping carriers at this tier. So that's the tier 4. Going on to the Hatsuraru, or something like that anyway. Pros, well, you're looking at slightly, well, obviously you've got improved guns than the previous tier, so you've got a slightly increased rate of fire, range and shell arcs. You've got a low detectability for your tier, decent torpedo speeds, basically you're getting some decent torpedoes now, and you're getting some generous torpedo arcs. However, the downsides are that your turret traverse is your turret traverse and your rate of fire is not... It's inferior in comparison to the other tech tree destroyers. You've got pretty poor armor. You've got fewer torpedoes than the Fubuki, being that you only come with 2 triple launchers, and you're slower as well. You're slower than the previous tier, the Shimakaze. Going on to the good lord, Suratsuyu. Now the pros here is that you have, again, you'll get an improved main battery over the Hatsuraru. You're getting more barrels and longer range. You have a larger torpedo armament than the previous tier as well, being that you come with 2 quadruple launchers, which is actually quite nice. You come equipped with slightly better torpedoes as well. They're faster than the previous tier. They hit harder. You have access to... I doubt we're going to have access to that, so I'm not even going to bother mentioning it. Probably a decent detectability as well, but the downsides are, again, weak anti-aircraft capability, quite a long torpedo reload time, but that's probably due to having quadruple launchers. You've got very small HP pool. You're pretty slow as well. Main battery reverse time is quite slow as well, so again, typical Japanese traits. Now for the Akatsuki, what's going to be coming at tier 7, you can be looking at having a quick turning, fast firing main battery gun. So this is where she really does become a actual gunboat. The potentially her armor piercing rounds could actually punish broadside ships due to her rate of fire. Quite flat shell arcs at close combat range, so should make her quite consistent at hitting enemies. She has quite a good anti-aircraft suite, so she's probably the only one out of the 4 which actually does have, well, can kind of justify that comment that they have better anti-aircraft. I won't mention that. Well, she's still got Japanese high explosives, which means that they punch harder. They're going to go through more armor. Downsides are slow acceleration, and you haven't got a great top speed. You're quite sluggish in the water, handling a bit more like a cruiser with a large turning circle and slow rudder shift. High explosive shells probably do a low damage and have a low fire chance in comparison. And you've only got 1 torpedo launcher, which means, well, you're a lot more reliant on your guns with the Akazuki in comparison to so yeah. So she's really the proper the gunboat for the actual tech tree split, whereas the others just seem to be an alternative option torpedo boat more likely. Simpus, it's worth the grind, but it has only one torpedo launcher. Oh, yeah, we just got that. So it has to fire its guns most of the time. Simpus only 4 launchers in the Akazuki, but 20k damage on those can be devastating. That's fair enough. Spartacus Squared, will these DDs be the same as the Italian cruisers in that we have to get them through crates, or is it regular tier grind? They're going to be coming out, as Simpus says, they're coming out researchable straight away, so they're pretty much open to grind straight away. So yes, as soon as they drop, you can blow a load of global XP on them, boost through them, or you can start grinding them. So that's why they're saying expect to see a lot of them, because I suspect everyone's going to want to give them a go. So expect for the first 2 weeks of the patch for everyone to be smashing out these destroyers. So hence why I was saying if you want to abuse them, get yourself a Russian cruiser with radar and abuse these little buggers back, I guess you could say. Now here's an interesting one before we move on to the rank stuff, is that the new line, they're also adding a new skill, so a new commander skill. Now this basically, it improves the high explosive shell penetration but reduces your high explosives damage. So it sounds very much like Equilibrium of Power, but probably doesn't affect your fire chance. Benefits here, well, I guess you'd be able to punch through more armor at least. That means you could probably abuse ships with slightly thicker decks than most. That means you can probably rain in a lot of HE rounds on battleships and set fires. So battleships, this seems horrible for battleships, because you got more destroyers with Japanese torpedoes. You're going to be expecting an influx of destroyers due to everyone having access to them, and all these destroyers are going to have slightly better potential at setting fires, being they can punch through slightly thicker armor. So maybe this has more justification for the secondary targeting system that we're going to be talking about later on. So next we have Season 8 of Ranked, I should say. So this is all about Tier 4 ships. So this is literally something that we have not seen for a year, pretty much. We didn't have Tier 4 Ranked, we haven't had since the November patch last year. So this is, well, it's good. I think it's good to see it return. I didn't mind it. I know that some of you out there didn't quite like Tier 4 Ranked, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it enough. I think there's a good couple of ships at Tier 4. I might do a couple of videos looking at Tier 4 ships, giving an idea of what I would say is, well, my opinion of what I think is quite probably like the better battleships, cruisers, and destroyers for the tier. Now, obviously, they talk about that there's going to be rewards as you go along. It's running from the November the 16th to December the 14th, so it's going to be open for 4 weeks. Yep, that matches up with my notes. Now, they don't give us a proper breakdown of the rewards, but what they do say is basically expect a Black Friday crate at the end. Somewhere along the way, expect to get commander items, doubloons, various containers, premium account time, and even paint. Yay! So maybe we could see paint coming as a resource into the game. It's something they probably should have done when they actually launched the ability to turn camouflages into permanent camouflages. Now it's got the basic standard rules for ranked. Pardon me. I have to get a sip of water. So yeah, it's just the usual stuff of ranked. So if you've played ranked before, then you're probably all up to date with this. And if you haven't played ranked before, well, I'll try and give it a quick skim. But basically, You're looking at, if basically for every rank that you complete in Season 7 is going to be a star that you're automatically going to receive at the start of Season 8. Therefore, you're going to be bumping along a little bit to start the campaign, probably about starting the rank season, and therefore going to be having a couple of rewards. Divisions are limited to 2 players still, a limit of 2 destroyers per team. Draws counts a loss for both team. A win gains you a star, a loss loses you a star. Unless you're the best player on the losing team, then you don't lose or gain a star. Once you reach rank 1, you can no longer play seasonal rank, therefore it's just moving players on, moving people out. We're seeing a return of the older maps in comparison to the last 2 seasons of rank. So we're seeing a return of Strait, New Dawn, Shards and North. When we've seen these maps before, this has been where you have an objective near you, an objective in the middle, and an objective near the enemy. And so therefore it's grab your objective and then squabble over that central objective. For those of you who have been playing it previously. Although sometimes it can be, I think it's Strait is one near you, one in the middle, one far away. New Dawn one of these. I think it's, I want to say it's North. I think North is one near you, one near the enemy, and one off to the side. If I got that right. So this is an interesting one. They've broken the rank season down into 3 different leagues, where the leagues are split at rank 11 and rank 5. So obviously, when you move up a league, basically you can only play with and against ships within your league. Now, 16 ranks, irrevocable ones, basically ones which means you can't go backwards from, is 16, 15, 12, 10, 5 and 1. So once you get into the top league, you can't go back, which is quite nice. However, if you're between the bottom league and the middle league, between ranks 12 and 10, then you can end up bouncing backwards and forwards between the two, depending on your luck and your success, I guess you could say. Final rank 1 rewards are credited at the end of the season. So basically, you won't be getting your Black Friday crate until December the 21st. That's strange. The other one is, please note there's no cosmetic items. No cosmetic items will be credited during the season itself, but we may credit them in the next update. So basically, there may not be a patch to show your progress in ranked. However, personally, I'm not too fussed. The patches and the symbols that you get from ranked, they're nice, but I'm never going to really switch to them. I know some people do like them. I do know some people who say, oh, well, they like them because they like to equip them when they're playing ranks, just to show that they have actually completed the previous season ranked. But yeah, no. Las Vegas, will you play this ranked season, Major? I play every season of ranked. It's just going to be the working out how I'm doing it, and with who is the best way to work. So squared. Not sure if you got the answer, but the Japanese DDs will be available straight away. No crates. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I mean, I think we have covered that. Right, new projects in the Bureau. So, as everyone's been expecting for the past week, we know we have the Karabosk and the Shimakaze coming to the Bureau. So finally, for those of us who have actually completed the Bureau, with myself being one of them, I've been kind of twiddling my thumbs for a little while. It's good to see that we're actually going to be getting a little bit more out of this. So here's the Shimakaze. As you probably have seen, we've had the trailer. There it was. I like the blue ranked patches. No, fair enough. I think that they're nice, but you don't really see them that often. And from a personal point of view, I don't think I'm ever going to equip it, to be all honest about it. Anyway, Shimakaze. Hit points 17,900, quite thin plating. She's got 3 double gun turrets. Yeah, pretty much standard stuff, really. But let's be honest, she's a torpedo boat, so let's have a look at those torpedoes. So, unfortunately, we're not getting 20-kilometer range torpedoes. We are going to be having an option to choose between 11-kilometer torpedoes and the 8-kilometer torpedoes. Now, this is actually quite interesting when you take into consideration that radar cruisers have a radar range of 9 kilometers for tier 7 and legendary. Unless they're Russian, then they've got 11.7 kilometer radar. So the 11 kilometer torpedo range will allow you to torpedo outside of radar range of the of the radar cruisers, unless it's Russian. Whereas the 8 kilometer torpedoes means that you will have to be entering into radar range in order to drop your torpedoes. And considering that there's some stealth stealth radar builds out there, that can be a little bit concerning. So, I mean, if I play torpedo boats, I usually go for the longer range because it means I can harass from longer range. However, I know that some people would prefer to go for the faster speed because it's going to cover that detectability time quicker, and therefore it's going to basically the enemy aren't going to have much time to respond to that. So I hope their torpedoes are better than the Benhams. I think, well, Shimakaze, yes. I mean, you're looking at the damage. You're looking at 23,767 and 21,367. So basically almost double, say, the Benham, for example, if we're going to. Seamless. Benham's torpedoes aren't so. Benham torpedoes are so bad. Oh no, they can't be bad. They're big yield. I mean, it says it there. Those 9,200 and something damaged torpedoes are big yield. I mean, whew, if you get hit by one of those, you might feel it. Las Vegas. Any torpedoes are better than Benhams. They're the worst. uh, it's when I read the trait big yield on that Benham in the first look stream, I couldn't help myself. I find that really cracked me up. Speed. Now this is quite interesting. Shimakaze, 39 knots top speed, so she's going to be motoring along quite nicely. A very quick rudder shift as well. Detectability only 6.7 kilometers, so she's going to have quite a lot of wiggle room once she adds in a couple of detectability mods, concealment mods, detectability inspirations. You'll be seeing that come down quite a lot. So yeah, nice. Damage control, smoke generator, engine boost. Yep. Shimakaze. I think Shimakaze is going to be one to have. If I had to pick between the two, I think Shimakaze is going to be my main one. However, I have a premium account, so I will be obviously pushing to get both. Obviously, it's nice to see that the Karabosk actually does have more HP, but then again, that's because she's a gunboat. She's supposed to be getting to gunfights. 130mm guns, 12.3 kilometers range. Nice to see the traverse speed is nice and quick actually as well. Torpedoes, 6 kilometer torpedoes, however they do 19,500. However, please note the surface detectability of the Karabosk is 7.7 kilometers. Whether you can reduce that enough and improve your torpedo range enough to be able to stealth torpedo with this ship is going to be... I'm not sure. She's got massive detectability. Whether or not she'll be able to stealth torpedo, I think you're going to have to really fine-tune the commander towards it. You're probably going to be looking at having to use Sergio Spolento as a commander in order to probably focus on the torpedoes. I think it's him. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do apologise. See, Las Vegas, I haven't been even assigned a commander to my Benham. Oh, well, it might be worthwhile doing that because you do get the Benham mission, which does give you a flag, but whether you're looking for a flag. Simpus, I tried playing Benham, but I'm not really good with DDs. No, that's fair enough. I did the Benham just to get experience in her. Otherwise, I'm just going to go back into my comfort zone of playing Royal Navy Destroyers. Spartacus, I only played the Benham to finish the personal mission. Now it's mothballed. That's the thing sometimes. It's good to have if you need the promotion orders for a tier 6 from your premium supplies, and obviously that is going to be quite nice. Now here's an interesting one with the Karabosk. You can go for smoke generator or you can go for the repair party. So immediately both kind of survivability style modules. Yeah. To be honest, I would have preferred to have seen her actually have the repair party in addition to the others, but That's going to be quite a difficult one to pick between. I think that's going to be on a play style by play style choice. Anyway, Black Friday. So Black Friday, looking at that happening. So Black Friday offers and containers will be in the store between November the 16th and November the 30th. Now, interestingly, so the Black Fleet, I'm a little surprised. But we got the Mutsu, the Indianapolis, I got the Balshvanki, but God, my pronunciation on that is probably all over the shop. And we have the Itago. So 3 of the ships will be available directly from the store, while the Itago is a low chance drop from the new Black Friday containers. Other than the ships, you'll be able to get basically the Black Friday camo, insignias, promotionals, premium account time, doubloons, credits, global XP, etc., etc. Should you get the Itago, then she comes with personal mission. One thing to note is that the Balshvanki comes with the Commander Schwertsky. God, I should add Polish to a list of 9 languages I can't use. Also, flags will be available for the other ships, but it will be only part of a bigger package, probably the package where you have to buy all 3. It should be noted that these ships will be more discounted in comparison to their non-Black Friday versions. So if you've been looking out at picking up one of these ships, or one of these ships and its commander, then this is probably going to be actually the best way to get it. In fact, actually, I think the Balshvanki along with Schwertsky, oh god, I do apologise, is probably actually going to be... I can see a lot of people buying that. I can actually even see myself buying that. Yeah. His base trait is basically reduced detectability, and that's universal, so you can stick him on anything. So it means if you go for a super stealth build destroyer, then you do him and Bay. If you do a super stealth build cruiser, you do him and Mikawa. If you want to do a super stealth build battleship, use him and Kondo. I mean, I'm probably going to pick him up simply just so I can have the commander in my arsenal, whether I'm actually going to bother using it, because he's not going to be as like for like. He's not going to be as good as Bay or Mikawa or Kondo. So you're only really going to be using him in addition to those commanders, unless you're using a commander for multiple different types of ship. Then maybe you might well look at that, because then it is universal, like different classes. Otherwise, I mean, I can appreciate that some people like to do double stealth. But I quite like having a bit of HP in there. That's one of the reasons why I use Sims on my DDs instead. It gives me a HP advantage, because, as some people say, yes, having a stealthier ship obviously means you can see the enemy ship earlier and you can react to the enemy ship quicker. But then at the same time, it's only going to be a matter of meters. I think it swings and roundabouts. I think it's a discussion that you could have for a very, very long time, and therefore, I won't get into it, is the best way to put it. Hello, Saxman, good to see you. Simbus, Polish language hard. Thank you, thank you. You're home. I hope the stream will still be on. Cheers. Oh, fair enough. Las Vegas. I'd like to buy it too. Just the commander, yeah, exactly. MTCD, haven't seen you for a good while. How's everything in New York? My first game in the Benham last night. I think she's fine if I play to her strengths, exactly. And the enemy cooperates. 3 kills, 10 torpedo hits, killed 2 DDs and a cruiser that tried to push me. Now that's the thing with the Benham, player like a Japanese DD. That's the best way to do it. I'm unusual. Hello, good to see you. Sparta Squared. I wanted to ask this, but there is a Russian BB that has limited repair module 2 or 3, while all the other ships I've played have a cooldown period. Why is that? Oh, so the Russian damage control party. It's just a unique thing regarding the Russian battleships, is that they have a reduced... Basically, rather than having an infinite amount of damage control party, they have a limited number of them. However, they are quick reload. But to be honest, I find that if you go for the right kind of commander build where you maximize the number of damage control parties, you rarely run out. So the Russian battleships like to play at range. Most of the higher tier ones like to battle tank. So usually you shouldn't get through all your damage control parties. However, if you do, then you might want to reconsider how you're using them or when you're using them. Yeah, the Russian BBs also do have a reduced number of repair parties. I think it's just because the ships maybe are quite survivable if played correctly. I think it's probably just to reduce their survivability a little bit in the long run. Las Vegas, they're trying to say the Russian mechanics ain't so good. I don't mind it. To be honest, I think the Russian battleships are actually quite strong. So every nation, everything needs an Achilles heel, and I think that's the Achilles heel of the Russian battleships, I guess you could say. Important note: the black ships are entirely here you go. The black ships are entirely similar to their counterparts, but have a dark permanent camouflage. They are incompatible with permanent camouflages skins that you may have for their regular versions. So basically, these are completely different ships, which will appear in your port. So it's not going to be, yeah. So basically, if it's like with myself, I've got Warspite and I have Warspite B. I never play Warspite B because I play Warspite all the time. So I have two Warspites, one with 1,000,000 elite XP and one with 0, because I've never played it. It's absolutely useless to me. But I'm going to keep it anyway because it's Warspite after all. So with these, if you say you've already got the Otago, you're just going to get the Otago Black. If you already have the Indianapolis, you're just going to have an Indianapolis Black as well. So I guess it's one of the downsides of this Black Friday style. MCC, New York is fine. Thanks for asking. Glad to see your recent subscribers increase. Well deserved. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you. Cracking on to secondary armament improvements, I should say. This is something that people have been asking for a good while, because if you extend your secondary range probably out beyond 6 or 7 kilometers, it basically turns into a pretty firework display. Let's be honest, whenever I see a Bismarck with a secondary range of 11 kilometers, I don't care, because it does nothing most of the time. I mean, when they first came out, it used to be a bit of a, oh, look at that. Nowadays, it's just a pretty firework display, and I completely ignore it, to be totally honest. I mean, occasionally it might set a fire, but from personal experience, I've just shrugged it all off when it comes in. So basically, they're acknowledging that people have been asking it for it all the time. So they're changing some of the commander builds, and they're also adding a new consumable. So the new consumable is enhanced secondary targeting, which will allow battleships to basically, I think, like it says, it's going to make destroyers' lives significantly harder. Let's see how that goes, but yeah, at the lower tiers, I think, at the lower tiers, tier 5 and below, where some nations' destroyers kind of rely on having to ambush or bum rush a enemy battleship, this is obviously going to make their lives harder. At the higher tiers, where a destroyer usually relies on stealth and catching out battleships when they're broadside on, I don't think this will have much of a difference, unless it is those occasions, I guess you could say. So basically, every battleship in the game receives 2 charges of the enhanced secondary targeting consumable. Depending on the exact ship, this consumable either replaces the planes or is in addition to their arsenal. So they give us an example here, which is Vanguard, but I think in addition to that, you can say things like Iron Duke, Bayern, or I guess Orion, Konig, basically anything that doesn't have an aircraft fitted is going to get this anyway. So in regards to those ships, that's actually really quite a nice improvement, whereas for some of the other ships which have aircraft, you're basically going to have to decide whether or not you want a catapult fighter, a spotter aircraft, or this enhanced secondary targeting. Now, they do give a breakdown here, but in fact there's actually a slightly more of a breakdown in the trailer, but I'm just going to quickly catch up with the comments. And then the only reason I am going to try for the Otago is for the flag, but my priority is the destroyer. No, the Barshansky. Misc Changes, Gunboat Destroyer Bismarck will be awesome. Well, let's see. Let's see. That's what I want to say. Spartacus Squared, with the current Rust and Rumble campaign, what happens to the Elite XP once it has been earned on those DDs, once they disappear on Monday? All the Elite XP that you've earned on those free or, well, multiple destroyers for the Rust and Rumble campaign will be assigned to the Tier 1 American cruiser, the Albany. So basically, it's going to be available as Elite XP within your bank of Elite XP, which you can then convert into Global XP using doubloons if you so wish. Then it was at least they made the grosser secondaries more viable. Yes, and they've there's more comments in regards to that lowered down. So regarding the enhanced secondary targeting, it will improve your shell grouping by 100% and reduce your shell dispersion by 50% for 30 seconds, and then has a 180-second reload. And I think you're going to get 2 of these, if I remember. So it's an interesting ability, I think. We'll see, because there's a comment down here that I want to cover. Another one they've said is they've every brawling battleship commander, so that would be Celiax and Madden, for example, are going to get the proper meticulous skill, which reduces the reload time for secondaries by 5 to 15% and prolongs the duration of the enhanced secondary targeting consumable by 10 to 35%. However, this is going to be coming in your 4th slot, where a lot of people usually prefer to have Master Mechanic, because Master Mechanic on a fully upgraded commander will give you 2 additional reload, 2 additional repair parties, I should say. So whether it's worthwhile, whether it's worth sacrificing 2 repair parties for this on a secondary build battleship. But then again, I guess, well, if you take the Guneisenhower, for example, the whole purpose of a secondary build battleship is to charge in there and die. So, or at least that seems to be what happens. Therefore, you probably don't care about repair parties because you're not going to live long enough to use them. So you might as well go in guns blazing and improve your guns a bit more. That's one way of looking at it. However, say you're using a secondary build Warspite, then actually, due to the soft nature of the British battleships, you're probably going to need those repair parties for your survivability. Therefore, you're probably going to retain Master Mechanic over going from proper meticulous. Because there's a thing, the Germans are about going in and using their survivability to last as long as possible to dish out the DPM. So I think that's going to be a player choice. I can see it being worthwhile on the Germans, personally. The porcupine skill, the porcupine skill has been obviously improved on the boarding commanders. So basically, it's improved your shell grouping up to 12%, and it's it's taken it from maximum 12 to a maximum 15, and a base of 3 to a base of 5, and the maximum dispersion radius has been further narrowed. So base of 5 to a base of 7, and a maximum of 15 to a maximum of 18. Oh, they've also done the change the base trait of Von Hipper. Basically, his initial one is so his base trait is obviously he improves the range of secondaries. They've also improved the shell grouping of your armament by 0.25% per rank, up to a total of 5%. So basically, it's going to be making it. It's good. Okay, I'll read that in a second. So basically, it's going to improve your accuracy as well. So that's quite interesting. But here's my concern. As we've only gathered limited use case data from the super testers or the alpha testers, it's important you provide feedback should you decide to go for a secondary route. So what that leads me to believe is all of this probably hasn't been completely tested and confirmed, and potentially we could see this. Well, on one hand, it could actually be improved. On the other hand, it could be nerfed. So enjoy it while it lasts, maybe, or see how it goes. But I don't like that. I don't like the way it's limited use. Considering they keep saying they're happy with the amount of alpha testers they've got, if they're having to confess they're using limited use, it's concerning. Eek, sweet. Sorry, it's not squared, it's SPQR, Latin abbreviation for Senate and the people of Rome. Oh, okay. You know what? I'll just simplify. I'll just call you Spartacus. And then, yeah. No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Additional balance changes. Basically on top of the secondary change. Basically, they think this is going to have the biggest impact on the game meta. Let's wait and see. Meanwhile, we wanted to tune legendary tiers. So basically, the grosser curve has has secondary battery range increased to 5 kilometers to 7 kilometers, which is nice. Okay, it does make a secondary build maybe possibly more worthwhile on the grosser curve. However, the grosser curve is so fat, she still has a blind spot to her front and her rear. And therefore, the only way you're going to be able to get your secondaries on is if you go broad, well, kind of go angled or slightly more broadside. And if you go slightly more broadside than grosser curve and there's a Yamato looking at you, expect to get, well, punished for it, is the nicest way to put it. Alaska's survivability has been basically improved a little bit. So the repair party is going to heal 20% of the damage to the citadel instead of 10%. And number of charges to the consumer has been increased from 2 to 3. So it means if you have fully packed, that's going to be going up to 4. A damage control party has also had its cooldown reduced by 5 seconds to 55 seconds. Some brief stuff regarding the next-gen console release. Obviously, PlayStation 5, nothing confirmed as yet. Xbox, this is an amusing one. So Xbox X or S version of the game will be released before the update cycle is over. However, it won't support voice communication with other platforms. That means if you will be playing on the Xbox X or the Xbox S, then you won't be able to talk to people who are on the PS4 or on the Xbox One. So it could be a very quiet, lonely place. Yeah, well, then again, I guess hope your mates get the Xbox X as well, is the best way to put it. Crossplay will be supported right away as it currently is, therefore you will be able to play against Xbox One and PS4 players. Miscellaneous changes. Oh, I'm going to have to stretch a little bit. Oh, right. How is everyone doing? Oh, this is quite a long one, isn't it? Right. Miscellaneous changes. Weekly mission chain has been added for the legendary ships. Now, for those of you who I have been talking to outside of streams and stuff, when legendary ships first got introduced to the game, I said, or I guesstimated that they would introduce a premium supplies for legendary ships in November. The thing is, I didn't go saying it publicly because there's no real way of it being. Basically, I worked it out. I went, the ships have become dropping now. The people will be getting the ships then. People will be playing the ships up to then. People have all the ships by then, and then they'll have enough data and they'll work out they need to actually get people to play them more. So therefore, it's coming, I guess, in November. Ironically, it comes in November, which I'm quite pleased with. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting one because what that means is between this patch and the next patch, when the premium supplies reset on the Sunday, or whatever, well, yeah, it'll be a Sunday pretty much for everyone, it will also reset after the patch updates. So that might go hand in hand with the weekly boost. So potentially, you could be looking at the day before the patch drops, having to complete your weekly boost and your premium supplies in that day. And then, when the patch drops, you'll be able to redo it all again. So that could be quite a nice promotion order boost if people are looking for it, and I'd probably recommend it. That means I'm probably going to have to enter negotiations with the wife, depending, to see what I can do this Sunday is the best way to put it. The default port is being changed to Nagasaki, as we saw at the start, so with lots of blossoming sakura, and with no American atomic bombs flying out of the sky. Any lira you have left over from the Italian cruiser campaign will be converted to credits at 7,500 credits for 1 lira. Tabs will stay in your account on the next update. There will be at least one item to spend the tabs on, and more than likely I bet it'll be that horrible rust camo. Any experience you earned in the Rust and Rumble ships will be put on the USN Tier 1 Albany. Premium ships Texas and Mutsu will be removed from the ships tab, and they will be available as components of various platform and or in-game store bundles later. So if you're looking at having the Texas or the Mutsu, they're going to be going away soon. If you they will be back. They will be available in bundles and stuff. But if you're looking at having them, you've got a limited time at maybe picking them up before they disappear, and then you're kind of waiting for them appearing in bundles and things like that. Some of the longer ship names don't fit in the combat log, so they have been made shorter. The reloader ship trait description has been changed to make it a little bit more sense. Now, for those of you who are interested, if I copy this link and I paste the link, and then if you go to that link, if that link works, no, it doesn't work. What would I have to do to make that link work? Well, I guess if I put www. And then I put the rest of it in, and then I hit that. Oh well, I'm not quite sure, but if you go to that link and you enter in this code, then you will get yourself a day premium and 2 basic containers. So that can be, well, it's nice. I've done it already myself. We've also improved the legibility of various division tooltips that appear in the battle mode cards and the main menu, and they've also made some of the patch symbols slightly smaller so they fit. Okay, fair enough. Fixed bugs. They fixed a bug with the Roma, where the Roma could be citadeled through 2 13mm spots of her deck armor by destroyers, which is quite amusing. However, this has now been reinforced up to 100mm. Modifications to the icons of the ship loadout menu. Okay, Commander tab. Basically, it's all just generous. No, not generous, more like general quality of life changes. There's not really too much to report there. Then what's Mutsu, I imagine it says in big crates. Is she available in big crates now? Well, I guess she could maybe become available in big crates. But yeah. Now, they haven't done any confirmation in regards to if there's going to be any additional premium ships in the next patch. Just having a quick look at Discord, and nope. However, considering we're looking at all the Black Friday ships, I highly doubt there will be any additional premium ships this patch. So, this could be quite interesting. I might have to let the patrons vote on what ship I purchase, maybe. And it was because I got my Mutsu from crates. Yeah, when she was available in crates for a little bit. I can't remember when. Was it Christmas last year? So obviously we know, well, what to possibly expect being that, well, if you're here for Christmas last year, then you're going to kind of have a nice idea of what to expect next Christmas. I guess, any questions? Otherwise, I think we've gone through all the notes, and I don't think there's much more to add unless people have got any questions or queries. Miss Gamer, thank you for coming along. Well, if people don't have any questions, I'll start doing the thank yous. Fast Vegas. Well, thank you, Fast Vegas. Thank you, Misc Gamer. Thank you, Name Was. Thank you, Spartacus. Thank you. Who else do we have? Thank you, MTC. Good to see you. Thank you, I'm Unusual. Thank you, Saxman, for coming along. Thank you, Austin. Good to see you as well. Thank you, Simpus. Good to see you. And thank you, the Banana Gamer. I think that's everyone. Wow. That's 1 hour. Quick look through the patch. If you've enjoyed it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. have a good morning, a good evening, a good afternoon, and a good night wherever you are in the world. If you've enjoyed this and you aren't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. And if you already are a subscriber, let's say thank you very much for coming along, for your comments, your support, and your contributions to the channel. Obviously, you can send in your game submissions to the email address. It's under the About tab. There's also a link to Patreon under the About tab, should you wish to support the channel that way, because it's a non-monetized channel. And until next time, I'm the Gallop Major, and back to the port. Oh, go on then. I hope you possibly enjoy the new logo. It's the title from the film, plus the drawing which is on the front of the sheet music, which was originally written for the Galloping Major. How come battleships can't destroy a destroyer with a... Why? How come battleships can't destroy a destroyer with a broadside? Well, obviously destroyers don't have citadels, so you have to take that into consideration. So you using armor piercing, you're only going to end up overpenning a destroyer. So really, ideally, you want to be looking at using high explosives. And although the general consensus is maybe yes, you can't destroy a destroyer with a full-on broadside, I have seen it done many occasions, especially from the British battleship point of view, because the British battleships do have a higher amount of HE damage. But it's just part of the nature. DDs don't have citadels that they would die too easily. Yeah, very true. Is that hood on the picture? Yes, that's HM's hood. And if you look, this is the crew on board. So it gives a bit of a concept on how large the hood was, because when she was launched, she was the world's largest ship when launched. Las Vegas. You can do it with HE in one salvo. Yeah, that's the thing. I've seen the name that was do it in his Nelson. He pretty much one-shot a Jervis and removed all of its health. Cabra or something like that. Oh, don't worry, the legendary USS DD has a citadel. I don't think it does. Oh well. I think we'll call it there, chaps. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for the little, the little question at the end and the little discussion. I hope you all have a good day. Cheerio, chaps.